And welcome back. As travel resumes to pre-pandemic operations, prices are going back up through the roof. So what do you do if you want to get out of town, but you're balling on a budget? We catch up with a travel expert for tips for you. And joining us now here on The Factor Uncensored is Deirdre Mathis, who's an expert at traveling really cheap, and she's the owner of the hostel Wanderstay in the city of Houston. Deirdre, glad to see you again. At one point during the heart of the pandemic, you could fly from America to Australia for $2. Those days are long gone now. More people are traveling, more things are opening back up, and so the price of travel is starting to rise again. But if you're out there looking for a way to save money, what would be your best bet or a piece of advice for people traveling during the summertime or the wintertime?
Yes, thank you, Isaiah, for having me. Yes, and you're absolutely correct. In the midst of the pandemic, you can get a flight for very cheap. Hotels were almost giving out rooms for free because people were not traveling. So numbers were dropping very fast, and they had to think of something to do in order to get people motivated to travel. So they offered very cheap rates and very cheap flights. Now that the vaccine is out and people are starting to get vaccinated and tired of being in the house for over a year, travel is increasing, which means that the demand is going to increase. So hotels and airlines are raising their prices because they know people are simply ready to get out and about. And so what I suggest is if you're going to be traveling internationally or even domestically, number one, make sure you're utilizing their loyalty and reward programs. So if you are paying more on the front end, at least you're going to be getting something on the back end. For example, hotels.com, if you book 9 nights, your 10th night is free. So, that could really help you out if you're out, taking a longer vacation. If you have certain credit cards, they'll give you a certain percentage back. I know that I have the Southwest Chase card. When you use that, you accumulate points, which you can use for travel later on. So although prices may have increased and you pay more on the front end, at least by utilizing that credit card, you'll be able to essentially build up points and rewards to be able to travel for cheap or free later on.
I've been sitting on a lot of points from my American Express credit card. And so you can use those points to buy tickets or book hotel rooms and still get discounts on the end.
Exactly. So what I always tell people is the everyday purchases you have to make anyway, gas, food, groceries, all of those things that you would need to purchase anyway, consider using them on a travel credit card. Now, make sure you're paying your balance off at the end of 30 days. That's a whole nother topic, credit management. Make sure you're taking care of your credit. But those things that you would have to purchase anyway, why not kill two birds with one stone? So you're getting the items that you would need, but you're also accumulating travel points. So I know last year, just, because we weren't traveling, me using my credit card, paying for things that I needed to pay for anyway, I was able to accumulate over 15,000 points. Now that's enough points for me to fly to and from Mexico round trip on Southwest Airlines for free. So, you'd be surprised at how quickly, these points can accumulate. And honestly, airlines and hotels are tripling and doubling their point values simply because they do want people to start getting out there and traveling more. So honestly, 2021 and 2022, once you're vaccinated, is going to be your year to honestly go out there and see the world.
What would be your advice in using some of these clearinghouse websites like hotels.com or going to a travel agent telling them in advance, find me the cheap ass deal out there? So what would your advice be?
So I'm a huge fan of sites like Priceline, Expedia, hotels.com, simply because they do often have just amazing deals. Now, I typically don't use a travel agent route. Don't be mad at me, just because I find that booking travel on my own is just easy. But for people who don't travel as much as I do, obviously I'm in the travel field, so it is a little bit easy for me. But for someone who hasn't taken a vacation or a while, or who doesn't know how to plan or get the best deal, then absolutely, I would say go ahead and utilize a travel agent. You're not paying that person. That person is getting a commission off of your trip, so it can't hurt. I see, a benefit for either or, booking your own travel or getting a travel agent, depending on your level of comfortability and planning your own travel.
And if you're traveling internationally, you may not know all the COVID rules,
Yes.
and the website may not give you that, so you can get that from the travel agent.
You know what, Isaiah, that is actually an amazing, amazing point. You're absolutely right. I've seen so many horror stories over the past 6 months, people visiting countries, not knowing what their rules are, being mandated to quarantine for 2 weeks. You know, you have to have the funds for that. Some people who aren't vaccinated traveling, not understanding that they'll turn you away. You know, Hawaii was really, really strict on that. If you didn't get your vaccine from a particular place, you know, they were turning people around, or not your vaccine, but if you weren't getting your COVID test from a particular place, they were turning you around. So you had to get back on that flight and go back. So
Yeah.
you brought up a really, really good point. If you don't feel like doing that research or don't feel comfortable doing that research, then definitely hiring a travel agent, especially in these COVID times, might actually be your better bet.
Remember to save as much money as you can while you're traveling.